Hello everyone, my name is Renee. Thank you so much for joining me. I help people to heal from codependency and to learn how to love themselves. Today's video is one I'm a little bit nervous to make. It does involve a fair bit of self-disclosure and honesty and authenticity from me. And I first would like to share that as I watch the videos that I put out, as I edit them and review them, it's sort of like I'm watching myself as object instead of being the subject. And I've noticed lately I'm not very happy with the content that I'm putting out. Just haven't been satisfied with it. I don't really feel like I'm conveying the depth of some of these issues in the way that I would like and in the way that I know that I can access. People who know me well know that I am a very, very deep person. I'm often very serious. And often what I present to you in my videos is the lighter side, the less confrontational side, the more lighthearted approach to some of these very, very painful topics. And I don't think that I'm doing anyone a service by continuing, by portraying these matters in that way. So I'm telling you this because the things that I talk about on this channel, like healing codependency and working on confidence and self-esteem and all of that, those are things that I'm working on. And I'm just not talking about them in a way that I think is as helpful as I know that I'm capable of. And to be really truthful and honest, as I also struggle with wanting people to like me and trying to get people's approval, I have been trying to get your approval too. And what I realized recently is that I have been afraid that if I go to a deeper level and sharing what I know and what I feel and what I've experienced and an effort to help others in healing those issues, that some people will be so turned off. Well, the truth is, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and it may turn some people off. And if it does, that's okay, because it will make room for people who this kind of content and this depth of content, this level of confrontation is appropriate for and are ready to do that work in themselves. So, like I said, a lot of self-disclosure. To be authentic is not easy. To show up and be seen, be vulnerable is what is required for us to do this healing work in ourselves. I have done a lot of work on myself, and I continue to do this work, and I continue to question myself, to sometimes step outside of my own little drama or whatever's going on, and to question, why am I responding immediately? Why am I being compliant? Why did I do this? And oftentimes I can trace, usually when that question comes up, it's because there's something there that I need to look at. I'm going to give you an example that happened recently. This is about authenticity, and then I'm going to tie this into codependency. So I recently had an audition to teach yoga at a corporation. Now, I've been teaching yoga for 11 years and personal training for 11 years. I have taught in all different kinds of environments. To give an audition is no big deal. I don't even think about it. I just walk in and do my thing, right? So I walked in and I met these two women to give my audition. I had known them for about 1 or 2 minutes. I knew nothing about them, nothing about the current class schedule, nothing about what kind of class format they were wanting me to teach. So they lead me into a conference room and they said, okay, go ahead and start. We're thinking maybe an hour. And to give my audition for an hour, what went through my head was, holy shit, a whole hour? I've given many auditions, but never have I ever given one for a whole hour. And I said, okay, well, let's just start and we'll see where it goes. I was trying to hide my nervousness. Well, not knowing anything about them or the people that I, could be teaching if I got this job, I started to teach how I thought they would want me to teach in a very traditional, typical yoga teacher way. saying the things that I thought I was supposed to say, speaking with a language that I thought I'm probably supposed to say because that's what most yoga teachers say and how they teach. But that's not really how I teach. About 10 or 15 minutes in, they stopped me and they said, okay, and they gave me some feedback and they said, okay, this is more like a level 1. You're giving a lot of cues, a lot of detail. This is more like a beginner level, and one of your classes would be that way, but this other class is not. They already know the poses. They know the names. They know this and this. Like, okay, cool. And I said, can I stop you right there? Self-disclosure. This is not how I talk. This is not how I teach. This is not me. And as I was teaching, I was listening to my own voice and thinking, God, I feel so damn fake. And I said that to them, knowing that if I lose the job, the opportunity to teach right now, I'm okay. But I had to come clean with them. And I said, my target audience, I teach yoga to martial artists and fighters and boxers. Those are my people. And I teach kind of from a more casual fitness perspective. I'm sometimes irreverent, and I have fun with it. I don't teach like a typical teacher in a yoga studio. That is my style of teaching. That is what I like to do, and that's what I'm the best at when it comes to teaching yoga. And they said that actually that kind of perspective and that style would actually fit in better than what I was already doing in my audition. So that's what they're gonna get. And I ended up getting the job. But I'm giving you this example because, and it bothered me afterward. I was bugged for a couple of days, several days actually, and I thought about it and processed it, and I realized I was afraid to be authentic. I was afraid that I wouldn't be liked, and I had to conform, and in my audition at least, I had to do yoga this certain way that I'm supposed to do yoga, even though to me it feels so, like I said, it feels so fake. It's not me. It's not how I like to teach and convey this message. I teach to people who call it, we just want to limber up. Some people would find that blasphemy in yoga. To me, I don't care. If that works for you, go with it. And so when we learn, grow up learning to be codependent, we are masters at compliance. One of, not the only way, but one of the hallmarks of codependency is being overly compliant, always giving, always, if someone asks you for information, you automatically respond. If they want something from you, you automatically give it. And you learn to do this because, this is how you learned to be safe. Like me, I learned to pick up the very most subtle, minute cues and to preempt. So you learn to always, read people. People tell me, like, you're so good at picking up people's energy. It's like, well, it comes from a place of pain. Sorry, but it comes from having been through abuse, having, learning how to be that, meet other people's needs so that I could be safe on a number of levels. And so when we are keeping ourselves safe, what we're doing is we learn to read people's moods and we focus on their moods a lot. What's coming in? What might happen? How do I protect myself from an angry outburst? How do I protect myself from maybe impending abandonment? Because that shit hurts. And so I want to ask some questions to you. Where are you maybe, complying and giving to others, giving information when you don't want to, staying and hanging with people that you don't really want to, even if it's family, or maybe it's your friends, certain friends or coworkers, where you may be spreading yourself out, giving your energy because you give and give and give because you're expected to, because you're supposed to. And the trick in all of this is that we do it without realizing it. That's why I'm talking about this, is to try to draw your attention to it. So if you're used to opening up to people and sharing of yourself and making yourself vulnerable, when if you were to maybe step back and ask yourself, do I really want to be sharing this? Do I want to be opening up these parts of me? Do I want to do that? Because to say no, and the answer may be no. And the reason why it's hard for us to not do it is because what we learned growing up was that to give and to be compliant meant getting love. So to go against that very thing is terrifying. It's sort of like if you have an addiction to love, an addiction to dating and to relationships, for you to turn down a date or interest in a man or woman, if you're, whatever the case is almost like, oh my God, okay, I've dealt with this too. You're turning down attention that you never got from that parent. So say, if you're a woman and you're turning down the attention of a man, or say, maybe you're coming to a place where you're like, no, I don't want to date. I don't want to. I need to focus on myself right now. I need to heal myself right now. I need to find out who I am without a man, without a partner. Who is this, who am I without being a couple? And so if someone comes into your life and they're expressing interest, to say no, shoot. If you haven't, because this stuff is like an addiction, because it comes from this deep, deep wound. And to start to go against that, it feels like you're trying to rip an arm off or something like that. Like you are trying to divest yourself of an organ. You need it. You need the attention to feel good about yourself, because we're still, just as I was with the yoga class, I was trying to get the okay and the approval, and to get this class and to get this little gig so that I could fit in. I was trying to teach how I thought they would like me to teach, because it's what I'm supposed to do, right? And sometimes, I want to say well, fuck supposed to. It's not easy. It's gonna be painful. But this is telling you where we need to go. This is where we need to start loving ourselves, where we need to start honoring ourselves and say, hey, you weren't born this way. You weren't born incomplete. You weren't born addicted to men or to women. You weren't born, with the automatic, with some overly compliant genes, overly giving genes, giving for the wrong reasons, empathy to a pathological point. You weren't born that way. You learned all of it. And now we can heal this. And I've struggled, and sometimes I've looked at my videos and I'm like, how do we, because people ask me all the time, well, how do I do this? I don't really know that I know how. You're like, well, why am I watching? What I can say is that what I found from my own experience is that a huge portion of healing is starting to develop the consciousness. And you will always have opportunities to practice, and life will present more instances to practice, or just when you think like you've learned a lesson, you're like, I did it. I stood up for myself. I moved forward with confidence. I honored myself. I was moving, I was showed that to myself that I was loving myself. And then something else will come along and you're like, damn it, didn't I already learn this? Why is this coming up again? Why is life presenting this to me again? Well, it'll always do that. It'll keep cycling back around. So I'm not going to tell you how. Here's what you do. Here's 5 steps. I don't know. What I'm trying to do here is to tell you, I get it. I have it too. And it's not easy for me to say. And I'm working on it too. I have been for a long time, and I will continue to do so. And my hope is that in sharing this stuff, by shining a light on it, that we can heal together, that we can learn and see that we have the capacity to stop engaging in these behaviors that leave us feeling like we're violating ourselves. We're going against ourselves. We are giving ourselves away, not because we want to, but out of conditioning, not out of consciousness. And it's a process. And it takes time. And the process of becoming aware, it hurts. It's not easy. So I hope that me sharing these experiences gives you some courage to look at your own. And we're gonna go from there. I think that's all that I want to say today. And it is also my commitment and endeavor to continue to make videos, but for me also with you to be more authentic, to be more real. And I feel that I have done that in this video. So that's it. I so very much appreciate your time, and thank you for watching. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, love yourself, honor yourself, stop beating yourself up. Stop saying nasty things about yourself when you look in the mirror, or when you're driving, or when you're going through your day. We can start to be nicer to ourselves. All right, everyone. Thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.